So here we go. South Sydney against Melbourne, and off we go. The Bunnies trying to stop their slide. Melbourne going for 3 straight wins for the first time this year. Grant. Kamikamitha over the 10, straight into Humphries and Aiken. So Melbourne inching closer here. Oh, Grant just strolls over. Oh boy, Harry Grant under the posts. And Melbourne are off and running. There he is, the big fella. Cartor was man of the match, by the way, in the last game they played. So strong run from him, and now following that, it comes away from Bloor, and Anderson released down the sideline. Munro chasing. The kick sees Hughes on his own. Hughes takes it and is under the post. An electrifying start for the Melbourne Storm. 2 tries inside the first 6 minutes. If South can bridge this gap to 6 points, Kalamatangi on. There it is. There's Alex Johnston. 2-0-3. 9 tries away from Rugby League's untouchable record. Pappenhausen. Short ball. Bloor. Anderson holds it. Anderson lost the ball. He's put it down.
Oh, no way.
He did the hard part, but he just couldn't get it over. Great save from the Bunny.
Who came across in cover there? I think
you're going to find it was
Jai Arrow. What a tackle! And let him know as well on the ground after he dislodged the ball. That's a terrific tackle.
This one try was on the left side as it comes to Kalamatangi down the middle. Oh, and falls on his front, but held down by Liera. Back to the left from Gray. Out to White. On to Mitchell, the double pump. Johnston, yes! Johnston in again. 8 from the record. Chance here against a very good side, and now Munro released down the sideline. He sees plenty of Melbourne jumpers, so he goes himself, and Munro patiently taken on the 10. Now it comes to the deadly left. Mitchell.
No way!
Johnston. He's got 3. It's 2:05, and it's South Sydney ties the game. Screen with Grant now to Munster. Munster with a bit of timing to Pappenhausen. Out it goes Anderson. Anderson. Oh, as he put a foot on the line. If he has it, he scored and put Melbourne back in front. Now Grant. Intercept. This is 4. 2:06. He's piling him up.
No.
Johnston.
He might get there tonight.
Mitchell. Even off a flat-footed start, he can get plenty on his kicks. Following coming forward. Oh, fantastic catch. And now he's away. Suafa-Alongo in the clear for the first time tonight. He's only got the fullback in front of him. Inside to Wishart. Wishart is going to get there. And Melbourne are back in front. Suafa-Alongo stamps his mark on this game. And the Melbourne Storm retake the lead. Oh, the kick in from Mitchell. Munro coming through. No one near him. Munro takes it. Munro scores. Game time. Incredible play from Mitchell. And Munro is over the line. And here he comes. He tries to nurse it through. He tried to stroke it through. 24-all. And now Golden Point on the horizon. It couldn't be a repeat of a few weeks ago. Mitchell for 2. Mitchell got it. Mitchell misses. Not this time. They get their chance.
Got to go now, Dan. They're taking it deep unless they're going for a try.
Inside the 10. King. Tackle 3. Grant. He's already scored one from dummy half at close range. He thought he could get another. Pappenhausen's about 15 metres behind the play, just left of the post. Here he comes. Pappenhausen has got it. Pappenhausen gets the win for the Melbourne Storm. And the Storm have outlasted the Bunnies in a second half epic.
Aside from my sentiment, what impression? Like, what did you think of? Because after that first 5 or 6 minutes, it could have gone a very different way, but they fought back really well.
Well, they've been fighting back every week. They don't give up. So it's a great quality they have, and it's the one thing that we don't want to lose. It's their strength, their ability not to give up, regardless what the scoreboard is.
special performance by a few players, but Alex Johnston, I think 4 tries, 3 in 10 minutes in that second half. The record's now 7 away.
Yeah.
What
Well, I said to him at half time, I said, "You got another try?" And he said, "I got another couple in me." And it's the first time ever he scored 4 tries in a game, so that's his long and remarkable career. So he's pretty pleased with himself, and we are too. For him.
It's pretty amazing, Wayne. Like, we are witnessing history in front of our eyes right now, what he's been doing, what he's done for this club. You mentioned yesterday Cody's definitely playing on next year. Has the club signed AJ going forward?
Well, we're negotiating with him when we believe that will happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So, and there's a bit more negotiations to be done.
Jack, can you talk to us about Latrell returning to this group? Like, obviously this club's gone through so much with injuries, but to have a guy like him come back, how much of a lift is it for this group?
It's been great, mate. He was unreal on Wednesday night, and he's come back with a positive attitude after a tough game. And you've seen the leader he is out there tonight, mate. Have a look at the try with Tai. There's nothing going on there, and he puts us in front again. So it was good to have him back, and big fella's killing it. What was your reaction when he sends that kick? I think it's the 3rd tackle. It's a bit of a gamble to make a play like that, but he's just the confidence. What was your reaction as a team match watching that unfold? It's just Trell. When he's on, mate. And that's the type of stuff you get. And also all the other boys, mate, with the hard work. And we fought right to the end there, and we fell short, but still a lot of positives out of that game.
What did you make of Latrell tonight, Wayne? And just some of those passes for AJ, those tries?
Yeah, he's a special player, and he was special tonight. He just means a lot to us, and with so many players missing, he's been standing up for us, and I didn't want to play him tonight, but with Jai Gray's broken thumb, I had to play him, so but he was great. But he had a lot of good players out there with him as well. So,
Wayne, how do you sum up the past 4 matches? It was that gauntlet against the top 4 teams. No wins, but could have easily won probably 2, maybe even 3 of those matches. Where do you see the team now after that really tough stretch?
Well, I hope we've learned a lot out of it, and I think we have, and I think we realise, we're not a top 4 team yet. We go with it. Get all the players back, we probably will be a top 4 team. Okay, but right now these guys are the players that have turned up every week for us and haven't had the injuries have been outstanding, so that puts us in good stead. And but we've got as I said, we played the top 4 teams in the last month, and have been in all the games. So we can take a lot of confidence out of that, and we've got to go back now and start winning now.
You would have been asked yesterday about who is due back next week. Anyone due back next week?
Well, there could be 3 or 4 of them, next week. But I'm just not sure yet, so I won't worry about speculating about it, but there could be 3 or 4 of them back, yeah.
We saw this week Josh Schuster's been granted a bit of time away from the club. Can you just talk about how those conversations happen and how important it is for him to put himself forward?
I don't want to talk about Josh. That's personal, and it's not and the world doesn't need to know about Josh Schuster, okay? Just understand he's safe and he's been cared for by a lot of people.
Craig, you banked the 2 points, but can you sum up the emotion that you feel?
I just thought, the start we got off to, it was obviously a really, good start. We completed well. We sort of planned we done what we planned to do, and then all of a sudden I think we lacked a little bit of patience. Could have been, we had a bit of time off too with the bye, so I don't know whether that sort of, you wouldn't think that would sort of harm our rhythm any. Like so I just think we lost patience. But having said that, you've got to give South a lot of credit for coming back. It would have been easy to say this is going to be too hard tonight, but they just kept hanging in there, and the 10 minutes to go, it looked like they were going to win the game. So I think we were really fortunate to get out of it at the end. There's some things we'll need to do this week to hopefully be a bit better next week. Just in those moments when it really matters. I think that's what sort of we struggle with tonight. But as I said, you've got to give South a lot of praise for just hanging in like they did, and then coming back. So to get in front after being down 12-0 after 6-7 minutes, whatever it was, that's a pretty good effort.
Harry, how do you sum up that first half? As Craig said, 2 quick tries. I think you make that half break, throw to Pabs, he puts it down. 8 errors in that first half. Is it frustrating that you know what you guys are capable of, but sometimes when it doesn't click, you can kind of go the other way?
Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one and probably a bit of a trend with our season. I think, looking back on that, would I throw that pass again? Yeah, probably, definitely. It's a genuine opportunity there, and no one between the ball. It's just the execution. So we just got to own those moments when we are going to do that. And I think it's probably been a bit of our trend. We sort of have a good patch and find some points, and sometimes that's not always the best. Sometimes you want to get in a bit of a flow of the game. Yeah, but we found those points early, and then that little bit of momentum swung, and then they're capitalising, and they've got field position and possession, and like Craig said, a real credit to them. I feel like for a long, long time, South have been that side where no matter how many points you score against them, they've always got a lot more points and a lot of fight in them. So, yeah, I think we, as a team, personally and from a player's perspective, we sort of needed to learn on the run and have a challenge like that where we overcome that challenge throughout the game rather than post-game and in a review. And something, that's the positive that we can take out of the game.
Craig, just how important is the win? No more buys left. For the Origin guys to back up, play the big minutes they did, to pick up 2 points, it's round 16 in the context of the season. You probably don't look at it as being important, but with no more buys, just how important it is to create that gap from the top 4 to the chasing pack.
Oh, yeah, again, it's, they're all important, the wins, and as you said, with no more buys, you'd like a chance at some stage, to give, especially the Origin players, a little bit of time off. If we find we can't really do that in games, we'll give them some time off from training, So, like I say, we've had a bye a bit later in the season, but like I say, we're all out of them at the moment. But hopefully, if we can keep winning, a few games, we'll be able to rest them at some stage. But as I said, if we find it's better to rest them from training, we'll do that. But you'd like to be able to have that bye and everyone sort of have a bit of time off. But that's not what we're going to be able to do, and we'll go from there.
What did you make of Sue? Obviously defensive, they went after him a bit, but for him to come up with that huge play, towering kick, make a break to sit up and try and wish up for the try, what does it say about?
Again, he's capable of that. He's only a small kid, but he's very talented, especially with his speed and his footwork. And the other thing he's really good at, again, probably he wouldn't be the most knowledgeable rugby league player in the game because, he grew up playing AFL. But that's part of that skill. For that kick he called, when he led to the try, it was one of the toughest kicks to take all night, and he took it. So I just think he's going to get better and better as time goes on when he learns more about the game and learns more about himself. And but like I say, he's got that pace and that change of direction to be able to do what he did tonight.
And just Brian Pappenhausen's execution in the big moments. Off that 20-metre restart, kicks the ball out. Not sure everyone was quite on board with what the rule there was.
No,
restart. No. But then for him to nail the field after the first one was charged down, are you impressed with how the team handled it compared to, let's say, Magic Round? Like the execution, everyone seemed to know and executed their roles there.
Yeah, well, we like to think that when we make an error as a team, or we don't handle the situation as well as we'd like, we learn from it, So that's the big thing. There's always something comes up that, geez, I couldn't see that coming or haven't seen that before. But as long as we learn from it, and obviously, we did tonight. And, he's pretty cool, perhaps. He doesn't get flustered about too much. So, it's always good to have him in that position.
Did the ref explain to you what happened there? Like, it was a tap or it was obviously a scrum. Did you guys know? Did the ref know?
Oh, we knew the ruling.
Didn't look like it.
But then, because he blew time off, so I just assumed that time would stay off. So I guess you can't assume time in the game. But who's that? There was 4 seconds, so
We'll learn from that too.
we'll learn from that. But yeah, there was
too,
4 seconds, so who's to know if we would have got time to pack the scrum? But a few of us sort of cursed at Paps when he kicked it. But that's Paps. He's backing himself, and he's, like Belzer said, he's very cool and calm and collected in those moments, and he doesn't shy away from them, and that's why we love him in our team.
How did you pull up from Morrison, Harry?
Yeah, pulled up sweet. I think it was a big performance, and win or lose, the first thing you want to do is play footy again. You want to get that opportunity, and to repay the faith with your teammates who really help you to get in those arenas week in, week out. They make you the player you are and help get you in those rep teams. So, I think all our boys did a really good job tonight. Yeah,
I'd like to back that up. Our guys, they pride themselves on backing up, after Origin. So that sort of probably started when, Cameron and Billy and Cooper and that were playing GI. But, I thought, especially his effort tonight, to play 80 minutes in the position he played after what he did on Wednesday night was, real helpful for the side. And, same with the other ones. X was the only one that didn't back up, but they all done a great job.
Craig, any ribbing from the bloke next to you and that pest Munster about the result?
Say again, sorry?
Any ribbing from your players after Wednesday night's result?
Oh, how much?
Double agent.
Couldn't sleep. Phone kept going off. So they turned off at the end. So anyway, we'll get them next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.